Government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.
The best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway, from Charlotte, another line going from in Florida down to Tampa of Putin's kleptocracy. Yeah. America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put him. The idea that Los Angeles and what am I doing here? For two reasons. One, I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure. Let's be clear. I hear it all the time. Cumulative deficit reduction, play for the programs many times over. Well, I'm sick and tired of smart guys. Let me start off with two words. Made in America. Made in America.
Welcome back to another night of Shtick with Koolfrogg. Oh, my Lord. Busy day. Tired. I did find something to actually go over. It should be a decent night. I would say hello to everyone real quick. What's up, Squat Bob? Squat Bob seems to be the first one in the house who says, hit that someone chopped off my fingers button. Is that the same thing as a like button? Or is that the thumbs up button? I don't know what chopped off fingers button really is, but all right, let's do that. What's up, beautiful? Good to see you, dear. All of you all sitting in Discord. That last person to actually bring themselves in there is the young man that I had talked to earlier today in the members only stream. That is the same person. Clumsy Clairvoyance. What up, dear? Good to see you. Glad you're here. Like I said, I didn't have a lot of time today to really actually do the research that I like to do. I did find some stuff. We'll see how well I can actually get through this. Catnip Dave, what up? Good to see you, my man. So, let's get a move on, I suppose. I missed the earlier broadcast. Yes, you did. There was a members only stream. If y'all missed the members only stream, don't forget to actually go check it out. It should be available to everyone, if I'm not mistaken. I left that open. So, a little bit of news for y'all. Let's see what we got here. Silicon Valley Titans behind mystery. $1 billion land buy near California military base. Reports. The mystery buyer of nearly $1 billion in undeveloped land abutting a California military base has revealed to be Silicon Valley heavyweights and not a network of Chinese spies, as some lawmakers feared. Yes. Sweaty carrots. I knew I could actually get you to follow along with the sweaty carrots. The land grab near Travis Air Force Base by Flannery Associates, which has become the largest landowner in Solano County, about 60 miles northeast of San Francisco, had prompted concern that the foreign entity could be using investment to harm U.S. national security. Not like they haven't already been doing something similar to that. However, it turns out Flannery's backers are of who's who list of tech titans and investors. It includes LinkedIn co-founder Reid Hoffman and Emerson Collective philanthropist Lauren Powell Jobs, according to the New York Times. The deep-pocketed investors reportedly plan to turn the land into their vision of an ideal city, featuring sustainable energy and pedestrian-friendly layouts. Sustainable energy? You going to tap into the rest of the energy grid, or are you going to actually keep yourself separated from it? Because then we can actually show proof how well your sustainable energy is really going to actually work. Aside from Hoffman and Powell Jobs, Flannery's investors reportedly include Mark Andreessen of the private venture capital Andreessen Horowitz, former Sequoia Capital partner Michael Moritz, and Stripe co-founders Patrick and John Collison, as well as entrepreneurs of Nate Friedman and Daniel Gross. That's a large conglomerate of people that own quite a few businesses. For them to actually think that they're going to actually go ahead and build a sustainable energy, pedestrian friendly city, smart city as it be, and not tie into the rest of the power grid. Let's go. Let's prove your point. If that is exactly what you think is going to actually be the best, green energy for yourself, sustainable energy, let's go. I want the proof that this is actually going to work before we move to roll out that everybody else must go off of the same style of power grid. Let's show the proof. Do you with your millions and billions of dollars, and prove to me that this is actually something, because I doubt that it's actually going to work the way it's supposed to. I really do. I find it doubtful. I was buried under rocks. Okay. Because you missed the last transmission because you were buried under rocks. So, okay, I got you. I'm being sarcastic, but I also can't complain. Okay. I shouldn't be reading chat. Should leave you all alone. We are proud to partner on a project that aims to deliver good paying jobs, affordable housing, clean energy, sustainable infrastructure, open space, and a healthy environment for residents of Solano County. Flannery spokesperson Brian Brokaw has said in a statement obtained by the Wall Street Journal. We are excited to start working with residents and elected officials, as well as with Travis Air Force Base, on making that happen. The Post had reached out to Brokaw and several of the reported investors for comment. The group has said to have led by Jan Sramek, a 36-year-old former Goldman Sachs trader who has spent the last few years securing funds for Silicon Valley luminaries for the project. It is unclear how much each investor has contributed to Flannery. It's unclear. Sure, it's unclear. I bet they have deep pockets in there ready to actually just upload anything that's possible. There you go. Beautiful, sitting over on the Rumble side as well. Good to see it. Good to see you. But what about civil control? I mean, government. Who needs government when you got money? They said the proof is in the pudding. Does that mean we're all supposed to eat pudding? I don't know. I see the climate idiots blocking Burning Man. Yes, I do actually have an article up for that in particular as well. That was kind of funny as hell. It was so funny to see. We'll get there, I promise. In 2017 email, the prospective investors obtained by the Times, Moritz stated this effort would relieve some Silicon Valley pressure we all feel. Rising home prices, homelessness, congestion. Flannery's recent buying spree has generated growing unease among nearby residents, as well as the federal government, which had launched a probe in July into the land purchases. In recent days, local residents of Solano County have reportedly been bombarded with surveys via text message. The surveys asked for their thoughts on planned city with tens of thousands of new homes, as well as the features such as orchards and solar energy farms. Solar energy farms. When you have the money to actually purchase solar energy panels, to actually go ahead and continuously purchase those every so many years to keep yourself sustainable, it might be okay. For all of us that can't afford to even buy a panel because they cost too much, might not be feasible. Which obtained screenshots of the text. Meanwhile, Flannery recently filed a lawsuit in May against a group of local landowners, alleging that they colluded with a price-fixing scheme to drive up the cost of their properties. Lawyers of the landowners reportedly denied any wrongdoing. Of course they denied it. Deny. Always deny. Reps John Garamendi and Mike Thompson, local Democrat lawmakers who had earlier called for the Committee on Foreign Investments to look at the land purchases, said Friday that Flannery had requested meetings about the project, according to the report. There's just a whole host of questions about the mega city. Garamendi told the Journal, "What are you guys doing with Travis? What are your intentions here?" Sure he did. That's what he was worried about, their intentions and what they were actually doing right there. I'm sure he didn't give a shit. In order to proceed with the project, Flannery would likely have to clear many local legal regulatory hurdles, including approval by local voters. The land it has acquired is zoned for agricultural, not residential use. It's zoned for agricultural and not residential use, but they're going to build a sustainable city. Who's going to pay off the officials to actually change the land use from agriculture to residential? Because that's what they want to do. You can't just do that. You can't just be like, "Oh, I'm going to actually go ahead and change that." No, that's not how it works. It doesn't just us and be, "Oh, we're just going to change it." You have to have people actually go out and tell you that you can actually put something there that can actually hold. If the land isn't sturdy enough and isn't stable enough to actually do such a thing, or if it's in a wrong area, there's something that's just not right, they're going to tell you, no, it's not slatable to actually build a house on. So being that it's already zoned agriculture, who's going to actually rezone it? Who's paying the money to get it rezoned? Flannery had earlier downplayed concerns of the project, asserting that 97% of the money had come from American investors, with the rest coming from British or Irish backers. U.S. lawmakers have expressed concern that the land purchases near Travis Air Force Base after a Chinese company last year bought 300 acres of farmland near a U.S. Air Force Base in Grand Forks, North Dakota. This is known as house-sensitive drone technology. So when it comes down to it, for them to actually think that it's okay to build this city, there's a lot that's going to actually get put into this particular instance of this happening. And though they have the money because of the backers that are there, doesn't mean that it's just going to all of a sudden be super easy for them to go ahead and build. They're going to have some things that they're going to have to actually work around to actually get this to work properly, to be a smart city, a walkable smart city. And you can see in this picture here, this is a very large area. You can see the Air Force Base is up in the this side up here. Well, why did you do that? But it's over on this side. You can see the Air Force Base over to the left side of the screen. The rest of the territory that was actually purchased out, you can see, is actually semi arid, not so green lush of any sort. So there's going to be a lot to actually go into this project to actually get this walkable, sustainable smart city to actually be built. and they best not be tapping into the rest of the power grid. They're going to tap into the rest of the power grid and say they're sustainable, they're green energy, and lie to us. I'm calling it out now. Pay attention to what the heck they're actually going to do with this, because these mega donors per se, these ones that own all these massive businesses where they have deep pockets, are going to do whatever they want. The proof is in the ending. Dessert. Dessert. I like dessert. Dessert's always the best. I see your desert. Thank you for being here, Kohagen. Yes, happy Monday. Glad that we're all here. But this project, this massive undeveloped area of land that's snuck up right near a military base, a massive military base for what it is, should be something to really pay attention to, where they're going to actually go with this. And I hope that they actually don't tap into. That's my concern. Tapping into the rest of the energy grid. If you're going to be sustainable, be sustainable. Go ahead. You should prove to us that you can actually do that, and you can make it work. That's what I want to see. I want to see them actually prove their ways. Cheers to you, ravenous pirate. Arg. Elon Omar accused of taking bribes from foreign nationals. Oh, you don't say. You don't say that this young lady from Minnesota wouldn't actually already have been doing such a thing. Radical Democrat Rep. Elon Omar has been accused of accepting bribes from foreign government officials. Omar was caught accepting full paid for luxury trip to the World Cup from the government of Qatar. The congresswoman accepted a free trip despite the country being notorious for human rights abuses. Qatar also funds the terrorist group Hamas, which seeks to eliminate Israel. During the trip last November, Omar not only attended the FIFA World Cup, but also met with Qatari government officials. Omar has yet to explain the nature of the meeting, however. Of course she hasn't explained the nature of her meeting. Why would she feel it necessary to actually explain why she went and she met with government officials of Qatar? There's no reason that she needed to. Yes, there is. There's absolutely full reason to. You work for the United States government. All of her travel, food, and luxury accommodations were paid for by the Islamic nation. Sure it was. Sure it was. But Omar's unexplained gift from Qatar isn't the only free trip behind the allegations of bribes. Omar also took a trip to Pakistan in 2022 that was funded by the government, according to the Star Tribune. Star Tribune is a massive paper out of the Twin Cities. Financial disclosures show that Omar went to the soccer event in Qatar's dime, despite the ethical questions it raises. According to the Tribune, Qatar has been widely criticized for abusing migrant workers and criminalizing same-sex relationships, among other alleged human rights issues. But yet, here we are here in the United States, listening to her actually go ahead and say we need to actually allow people to actually go ahead and marry the same sex, as well as allowing transgenderism to actually flourish as it is. Something that they actually frown upon And of course, they allege that these are human rights issues because, oh, what, you can't marry somebody of your own sex? No, not all religions or countries have to actually go along with ridiculous ideologies. Uh, Omar attended a FIFA World Cup and met with Qatari government officials while she was in the Gulf nation last November and had her food and lodging paid for by the country. The cost of her trip wasn't disclosed. Rather than the address allegations, Omar's office tried to sidestep the issue when asked about it. A spokesman claims that Omar remains committed to upholding human rights and the rules of law around the world, and also to direct engagement in regimes responsible for human rights abuses. This includes accountability in the vital labor practices and mistreatment of migrant workers in Qatar. Omar's spokesman and Jeremy Slevin claimed in a statement. At that end, she sent a letter demanding accountability for these abuses ahead of the World Cup and specifically raised her deep concern of her meeting with the Qatari officials. She also visited our troop station in Qatar and got the opportunity to meet with the folks helping us with Afghan resettlement in Qatar. Mhm. The Minnesota Democrat has joined the group of other politicos in the World Cup, including Democratic President Joe Biden, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. Under the Mutual Education and Cultural Exchange Act, members of the Congress and their staff are allowed to travel overseas in the foreign government's expense as long as they report uh, it on their annual financial disclosures. Congresswoman Omar accepted an invitation for the Embassy of Qatar to attend events in Doha in November 2022 as part of a program authorized under the Mutual Educational and Cultural Exchange Act of 1961. A spokesman for the Qatari Embassy of Washington, D.C., claimed in a statement, "This is long-standing exchange program organized by Qatar, was approved by the U.S. State Department in 2008, permits participants to accept transportation, lodging, and related expenses during their attendance." Though not technically illegal, having foreign governments pay for a politician's trip raises ethical concerns. This is especially true when it comes to communist regimes, dictatorships, and Islamic strongholds that ignore or oversee human rights abuses. Ironically, Omar has previously trashed Israel and India over their human rights records. In a July post on Twitter X, Omar declared that there was no way in hell she'd attend the Israeli president's speech to Congress. Of course she wouldn't. Of course she wouldn't, because she's a hypocrite. She's the biggest hypocrite ever. What's up, Dry? I see you over there on that Rumble slide. Good to see you. Good to see you. In a statement, Omar claimed her absence was due to opposition over his government's human rights record. Business Insider interviewed Omar concerning her lavish Qatar trip. She justified the country paying her way by claiming there are no perfect countries that have a perfect record. I wonder what kinds of conversations will be had and how many people will object to the happening in history of the indigenous people and enslavement and police brutality, Omar told Business Insider. She was referring to the next World Cup of 2026, which will be hosted by the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Interesting. Interesting. So as far as that goes, so I mean, rules for thee, but not for me. If you go and you did, if anybody else decided to actually do this, she would be throwing a fit. Oh, I can't believe that you went to Israel and you let them pay for it. You're this, that, and the other, calling you names, throwing racial slurs at you, calling you whatever it is that they wish to actually call you, to only have it come around, in her own face, smack her right upside the freaking head with it, and be like, "Hey, look, lady, you don't get to go around and do whatever it is that you want to do with terrorist money." Why? Because you just can't. You can't go and take these trips regardless it's though they're saying it's not illegal, it's frowned upon. It's very, very much frowned upon when it comes down to who's actually funding these trips. For her to actually go ahead and do this without actually disclosing what it is that she actually went there for is also beyond the pale. So, Clumsy says, hi, dry LOL on Rumble. Yeah, you might have to actually jump in there and go say hi. Make yourself back over to the Rumble side. Hit that thumbs up button while you're over there, because that's what you got to do. Everybody hits that like button when they're over on the YouTube side, right? I know they do. Ilan Omar, you disgusting, wretched woman of Minnesota. I wish you'd go away. Just wish you'd go away. I'm not telling you how. I just want you to go away. I don't think that you've actually done a good job for Minnesota and ever have. Being an ex-resident of Minnesota myself, I really don't like you. Kind of move on a little bit. You drew a fringe comment. Vivek Ramaswamy hits back on CNN host as she lectures him about race. Kind of a spicy little.
To another level on Friday, in addition to the comment we played, you took issue with comments from Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley. She reportedly said, quote, "We don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice." About
a brown what?
Need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. About that, you said,
"We don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown face that doesn't want to be a brown voice." Who gets to decide this? Who gets to decide what's? I mean, that's just as ignorant as Joe Biden going on Charlemagne the God's channel and straight out saying, if you don't know if you're voting for me or for Trump, then you ain't black. How racist can the left actually be? Oh, she's going to prove to you how racist they can really be. Because that's what she does.
These are the words of the modern grand wizards of the modern KKK. I'm sure, the KKK.
Oh, you mean that group that's anti-Republican? The group that's anti-Republican. It's amazing how this lady is okay with actually speaking of such a thing and being just as disingenuous. You can see it in his face, how upset he is with with the round of questioning that she's even getting into.
KKK was responsible for more than a century's worth of horrific lynchings, rapes, murders of Black people. How in any way are the views you're talking about comparable to the views and atrocities committed by the KKK?
I think they need to actually read a history book. I think they need to read a history book and actually get their facts straight before they start spitting bullshit rhetoric.
Okay.
What I said is the Grand Wizards of the KKK would be proud of what they would hear her say, because there's nothing more racist than saying that your skin color predicts something about the content
you didn't
of your
just say that.
Exactly. You could, like I said, you could see him. You could see him getting agitated and angry. You could see it in his face. You could see him actually spinning in his grave. Everybody else you could see it. His head is just, he's like, what the, are you kidding me right now? You're going to come after me with this bullshit? You're going to actually try pushing this ridiculous crap? Uh-huh. Dry made it over to the YouTube side.
You didn't just say they would be proud. You said these are the words of the modern grand.
These are the words of the modern grand
wizards of the modern KKK.
I'm gonna flutter around.
It is the
You can see ready to explode. Exactly. He's so irritated and so agitated right now. He's incensed. He's ready to actually just jump on her and beat the crap out of her for what she's actually spewing.
same spirit. You're right about that, Dana. I think it is the same spirit to say that I can look at you and based on just your skin color, that I know something about the content of your character.
Ah, there you go. Let's pull out the MLK stuff, throw it right back in your face. You can see it in her face right there as I pause the screen, as she squints and and it makes her actually, she's like, oh, you're going to go there? You're going to use those words?
That I know something about the content of the viewpoints you're allowed to express. For Ayanna Pressley to tell me that because of my skin color, I can't express my views, that is wrong. It is divisive.
That is
it is driving hate.
That is
in this
a debate.
Country.
It is exactly what's actually sowing the division right there. Right there. The crap that this lady's spewing. This lady right here, she has no clue what she's actually saying. She's spewing crappy news networks rhetoric across the freaking world to actually go and spew the idiocy. You slither away, you nasty.
This is dividing.
Okay, that is a debate.
Breaking point.
That is a debate that is based on non-violent discussion. That you just said you're using rhetoric, which she said she's using rhetoric. That's one thing, and another thing is to say that she represents and she.
These people would have been behind Barry Goldwater during the civil rights, says Jiraiya. Yeah, she's an empty vessel filled with shit. I mean, and nothing else. Nothing else. The slithering snake that she is
a modern version of a KKK, which, as you know, was dedicated to the subjugation and violence against Black people. How on earth is she a modern Grand Wizard?
Let's be honest for a minute before we actually move on to what Vivek actually has to say to her. Who are you to actually speak for them? Oh, yes, there you go. Another liberal white woman. Perfect. That's exactly what we need. We need that.
Kind of organization.
Let's be intellectually honest and get to the heart of what this debate ought to be about. There is a worldview that says that the remedy to past discrimination is present discrimination. That if you're Black or brown, you have to have a particular point of view. That's from Ibram Kendi. That's from Ayanna Pressley, the people I quoted in my speech yesterday.
But can you have an intellectually honest conversation
of who you are,
when you accuse?
And of course, she's not going to allow him to actually speak his mind the way he wishes to speak his mind. She's going to try cutting him off at every single point that she possibly can, because she knows damn well the second that he actually gets a clear and concise voice and get his full thought out, she's going to get buried. She's going to get buried the second that he actually finishes anything that he's being that is actually being said. Super blue moon. It's supposed to be a super moon, as well as it being the blue moon. I've already been feeling the effects for the last day or so. And yes, I'm super, super excited to actually walk into the super blue moon that's coming up within the next day or two, and everything that goes along with it as we actually watch. The very last thing that I actually cover tonight will actually be about that, because it's going to be something that we'll actually start feeling as of today, and it will go through the next 2 or 3 days as it actually is going to affect a lot of things. You're going to actually see super high tides and super low tides to go along with the moon. As we all know, that's what actually happens. There's a lot more to go with the moon other than just the moon itself. It's amazing. It's fun.
You have to be able to.
And then Saturn's actually supposed to be right there too. So you actually, when you actually look up to see the super moon, you should see Saturn sitting within distance of the moon. It should be awesome to actually see.
Being a Grand Wizard
Let's
of
have
the
the debate.
KKK. Can you have that intellectually honest discussion with that kind of rhetoric?
Yes, I can, Dana, because the point I'm highlighting is that even the people who, in good spirit, we all agree that the KKK was an awful organization that is a toxic stain in our national history. So given that we can start from that point of agreement, now that allows us to say, well, who actually sounds more like that organization today? The people who are calling for more racial discrimination on the basis of skin color. So yes, I think that is an intellectually useful starting point for a provocative discussion that we need to have in this country.
The whole point is the KKK
I think the reality,
wasn't
Dana,
just about rhetoric.
We have to speak openly.
They lynched people. They murdered people.
Yes, they were Democrats.
They raped people. They burned their homes.
And that was wrong.
Yes, and it was wrong. The Democrats that did that were wrong. They shouldn't have done that. They shouldn't have done that. They shouldn't have been able to spit and spread their bullshit and actually do anything that they had actually ever done. Them anti-Republican Democrats that were out there that were actually formed this group that actually caused this kind of bullshit to actually happen is exactly that.
Wrong.
Simply
that was obviously wrong. Wrong.
Okay.
Obvious,
so again,
that is obvious.
Again, I'm holding an interview, but as opposed to actually allowing you to talk, I'm going to sit there and talk over the top of you because I'm the host and I'm the ignorant one that gets to actually do such a thing.
If you want to have an intellectual discussion, do you think that
an intellectual discussion, are you going to cut him off during this discussion, or are you going to continue to talk over the top of him when he actually tells you the truth?
Maybe comparing her to the Grand Wizard and the notion of what she said to being a modern leader of the KKK was maybe a step too far, or you stand by what you said?
I stand by what I said to provoke an open and honest discussion in this country, because there is a gap, Dana, between what people will say in private today and what they will say in public. I think we need to close that gap. I think we need to have real, open, honest, raw conversation as Americans. That is our path to national unity. And there are many Americans today who are deeply frustrated by the new culture of anti-racism that's really racism in new clothing. And we need to have that debate in the open. Dana, I think I'm
not sure. I'm not sure. I don't get it. I'm stupid to the point. I don't understand. I've never read a history book. I don't get it.
Provoking a discussion.
What many in the media do, picking on.
There you go. Call her out for what it is, and then laugh at her. Laugh at her, dumbass. Do it. Come on, big ass grin. Laugh at her.
Picking on some fringe comment in the context of a broader context that I was offering it in a speech.
All right, so you just said that your comment was fringe.
Let's have the courage to confront the meat of that. No, I'm saying you drew a fringe comment from a much longer speech. As I just.
Wait a minute. What did she just say?
All right, so you just said that your comment was fringe.
Let's have the courage to confront the meat of that. No, I'm saying you drew a fringe comment from a much longer speech. As I described.
Did you hear the truth? Did you hear the truth that came on us? No, you drew one small fringe little thing out of a longer statement. I made a lot bigger statement, but as opposed to taking the full statement, you took a little clip of it, spun it to go along with your bullshit narrative to actually make it sound like I'm something that I'm really not. Ignorance.
I described you picking one fringe comment from a long speech that I gave to duck debate from the real issue that I think you don't want to have, Dana, because I think you probably agree with me on this, that this is toxic.
I think that this debate,
from leading politicians.
I think that this debate.
I think I need to actually cut you off. I think I need to cut you off over and over again because I don't want you to actually finish your thought, because the second that you actually finish your thought without me cutting you off, you're going to actually make sense and you're going to actually make me look stupid, as I already fucking do.
Dividing us on the basis of race. And I want to have the open debate. I think this debate
is fascinating and interesting and opening and important. What I did was...
I do too.
Explain to our viewers that you were asked a question and you took it to a point where you called a sitting member of Congress who is Black, who was having discussions about race, calling her the modern Grand Wizard of the...
You know, he can call it what he wants, you know, really when it comes down to it. But for you to actually spin it to actually make it sound like that he said something that he didn't really say is ugly on you.
KKK, and I'm just not sure how that's open and honest discussion. I want to move on, though, to another issue, a very
I know that was kind of, you know, right on the lines of, you know, kind of something that YouTube might not like, but you know, whatever. I don't give a shit. I really don't. Really don't. I really find it really disturbing that we actually have to even talk about this, even think about it. When it comes down to it, she was wrong. She was wrong. She failed tremendously at this argument of trying to make it look like he was something that he wasn't. And for her to actually tell him that he has, or that they're sick of him speaking against the rhetoric that they wish him to actually have because of the color of his skin, makes each and every single one of them the quote unquote racist. What's up, Aaron? Good to see you. Although I just joined Koolfrogg simping over this lady. Good to see you. Glad you're here. They both look like dumbasses, or do they? I know that it was, you know, that I actually kind of ripped into her, but you know, when it come down to it, she deserved it. She deserved it because she's spinning idiocy. She needs to actually grab a history book and actually learn the truth. Learn the truth before she goes around and spits the idiocy that CNN forces her to actually speak. I always said TV anchors were too dumb for politics and too ugly for Hollywood. And she kind of hit both of those books, didn't she? She was wrong, but I don't like him at all. You don't have to like him. I don't really care for him either. As this guy right here, Mr. Donald Trump, he's still got my vote. There's absolutely nobody that's going to change my mind. Go ahead, slap him with another indictment and see how many more people you can turn. Let's do it. Because I was walking into this very open-minded that I was going to actually give every single one of them a chance. I was going to listen to them going through all these debates, and I was going to actually pick the best out of the bunch when it come down to it. But they keep on doing what they're doing. They keep on slapping indictments over and over again. You changed my mind to the point of I don't care about any of them. I'm going to actually go ahead and I'm going to vote for this guy. I've seen that Vivek is a state. He can be. And that's, you know, that is what it is. But the point is her ignorance in calling him out for his thought of not being the same as what they wish all people of, you know, skin color to be. Racism at its best. It's exactly what it was. All right, let's move on to the next one. Kevin McCarthy issues warning to Biden. Democrats now tell me they're very concerned. I heard him trying to disguise that hiss when he talks. That's so funny. Like, again, I don't care about the guy either, but I wanted to call her out for what it is because she deserved to actually be called out. And I think he did a good job at actually continuing with his thought pattern while she's sitting there trying to derail him. And it didn't work because she's disgusting. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has issued warning to Joe Biden about the level of concern that mounting the response of investigations in the Democrat president's family business. McCarthy warned Biden that several Democrats had told him they're very concerned as the evidence mounts for the years-long foreign influence peddling scheme. The speaker has asked the Fox News Sunday morning features whether he'd bring an impeachment inquiry against Biden next month. He is recently indicted. McCarthy stated that an impeachment inquiry into President Biden is a natural step forward. So, if you look at the information that we have been able to gather so far, it is a natural step forward that you would have to go to get an impeachment inquiry. The only reason you know of all the information is because we took the majority of, and we're holding the administration accountable. It is appalling that we have what we have learned. It is different from what President Joe Biden has told us. He said he never had any dealings with his son's business and he never even talked to him. We have now found out not only did he call into the meetings, he went to dinner, and after the dinner, Hunter Biden got a new Porsche, that there was a $3.5 million transfer. We now found out as he is sitting vice president, and the family created 20 shell companies. They received 16 of 17 payments from Romania while he was vice president, and now found that the money would flow to 9 family members. He has to continue to change this. There's a lot of questions still. And to be able to get to the answers to these questions, you would need impeachment inquiry to empower Congress, Republicans and Democrats, to be able to get the answers that the American people deserve to know. McCarthy then revealed that it is not only Republicans who are turning on Biden as the evidence stacks up. I have had Democrats now tell me they're very concerned because they back the president based upon what he told America. And with each turn, we find that is not true. Kevin McCarthy, the nasty swamp creature that he is, rhino, trash, dirtbag, has actually woken up to the point, and he's now saying, we have Democrats now telling me they're concerned because of they backed this president based upon what he had told America. He's lied to everyone. He's lied to every single person. And look at what's happening now. Now that Democrats are actually looking at it and being like, well, wait a minute, that's not what he told us. He's lied to us the whole time. Now Democrats want to actually go ahead and turn around on their own president that they made sure that was actually installed as president of the United States. They're going to turn on him. They're turning on him as we speak. I've seen a list of his flops. Dude is a real $3 bill. I told you, I don't care about him. What I care about is the conversation that was had. The conversation that was had that shows this bitch being so damn ignorant. Unpopular opinion, I don't dislike Vivek, but to me, he doesn't really matter as long as Trump is the front runner anyway. Exactly. And he's not going to actually stop doing whatever he's doing. He may actually be a good candidate for vice president potentially, but then again, I might not actually see it that way either, as he kind of does have his own ways. Though he's shown some of those quote unquote MAGA, feelings and attitudes towards things, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's the best. He may actually be just as much trash as a lot of the candidates that are actually up there. Problem with Trump is that so many people hate him, they'll vote just to vote against him. And I know. Hate him? Democrats would still support Biden if his poll numbers were higher. Supposedly, but their own constituents are actually looking at it as the potentially against them, as you can see here from this particular article. That comes from the swamp creature of Kevin McCarthy, saying that Democrats are actually looking as that they are also just as concerned with what is actually happening. So it doesn't matter what side you're actually on that. There could be some other issues arising as we speak. I don't know. I really don't know what to actually think when it comes down to it on all of it. Some of it's kind of hard to actually take. So I'm really serious. It's going to be a short night tonight. It's going to be a short night. So anybody that's actually going to stick around, hit that like button while you can. So this lady, Miss Circle Back, has something to actually share with us.
Indictments about his actions in attempting to overturn the outcome of an election, about holding onto classified documents. I could name more. It took 51 minutes in that debate for any of those topics to come up. What did you make of that?
Oh, that was perfect, because that's about Donald Trump. That's not about the future of this country. That's not about turning. Look, Republicans are trying to save the country. Donald Trump is trying to save himself. Right. So when it comes to a debate, we don't want to just kind of be rehashing yesterday's news. We want to be forward. We want to be about 2024. We want to be about what we can bring to the table with the economy and securing the border and, and energy independence and all these sort of things. So huge opportunity there. And they grabbed onto it. They didn't fall for the trap, so to say, of talking about the big guy.
Now, the forward-looking message works well. I've done a few campaigns myself. But there is a reality here that Trump is still double digits ahead. Mm-hmm. And some of these issues that are backward looking, as you've described them, and some of the other candidates described in the same way, are about policy issues. Sure. The handling of classified documents, the sharing of nuclear secrets, potentially, how you're handling democracy and viewing it. Right. Don't you see the views of these candidates as relevant and important to voters?
Well, sure. But I mean, look, when it comes to all that, Donald Trump will have to have his day in court and all that sort of thing, see how all those indictments play out. These candidates now should really be focusing on what they're about, their backgrounds. A lot of folks didn't even know Vivek. I mean, I'm in the world, you're in the world, we're talking about all these candidates all the time. The average Republican voter had barely even seen Vivek Ramaswamy, and then they got to see him for the first time. And maybe they liked him, maybe they didn't. They got excited. Obviously, he was attacked a lot. I think Vivek did very well. I mean, considering he's never stood on a debate stage. I've stood on some debate stages. It's a hard thing to do.
Now, let's focus on Vivek Ramaswamy for a moment, because you're right. Unless you're a political nerd or wonk like both of us, you may not have heard of him or been watching him. He has been moving up in the polls in New Hampshire, including in New Hampshire, as Chris Christie has been as well. He was very energetic at the debate this week.
Chris Christie didn't do anything but actually become Krispy Kreme Christie. He's really seriously, absolutely a nothing burger. Anybody that thinks Chris Christie is anything more than that, it really needs to actually open up their ears and actually listen to the bullshit that comes out of that fat ass.
But he also had some things to say about policy issues that were pretty problematic as it relates to the electorate. I mean,
got to pay attention. Potentially nuclear secrets, right? Exactly. There were no nuclear secrets. The codes change almost on a regular basis. When it comes down to it, you're not going to actually go ahead and you're not going to, there's nothing there that was really of substance for them to actually go off of. They're just trying. They're trying whatever they can to get wherever they can, and it's not working.
He said climate change is a hoax. Do you think that is something that you would want to see on the platform of your party?
Look, there's no doubt he took some positions that, for me personally, are a challenge.
But don't go ahead and hit on that one in particular. Yeah, there's a couple things that he said that I would, I kind of questioned, whatever. But, I'm not going to actually hit on that one because you probably believe it the same way, that it is just that, a hoax.
Do they connect with the Republican base? I don't know. I can tell you all those candidates.
Yes, you do know. You're not dumb. You see it. Come on, spit out the truth. Come on, Sununu. Do something right for once.
Could win in November of 24, and that's exciting. Donald Trump can't win in November of 24. The math.
Are you sure? Are you sure? Go ahead. Make sure you stare into the camera as you actually state something. I'm working. Go. No. I'm almost done. I'm getting fast at pushing that button. Make sure he doesn't get on camera.
Doesn't work out. If you're supporting Donald Trump today, you're effectively handing it to Kamala Harris potentially down the road. So
I really don't watch television
opportunity is a
either.
new face,
I
fresh
really
ideas.
dislike it. But
Vivek, Haley, Pence.
And that's the reason. So I never watch MSNBC, and that's the reason when I see these types of speeches and I see them in a news article or whatever, I'll go and I'll listen to them, so that way I can actually go ahead and bring them up on the screen and actually go ahead and explain exactly what it is, how these people are being so freaking ignorant and stupid to the point, so that you don't have to actually go watch MSNBC to actually catch this 7-minute blurb.
DeSantis, they all did very, very well.
The other event this week that I don't think anybody can characterize as good for Trump is getting his mugshot taken and released in a
Trump will love
Fulton County
They'll be
courthouse.
selling T-shirts within minutes of it being taken.
That may be true, but do you think that it's good for him politically? Do you think having a mugshot out there changes anything in the Republican electorate?
It doesn't change anything, but it allows him to maintain his presence in the media, his image. People be talking about it. Not just what he does with the mugshot, but all the drama that he wants to keep building off of it. He wants this drama to keep going. Give him a 5th and 6th indictment. He'll love it because it keeps
What about
him in
with
the
independents? I mean, New Hampshire, live free or die.
He doesn't care. All he cares about right now is getting the nomination. He can't win in November. Independents hate it. There's no way Donald Trump will win anything above 31% of the independents, which is why Republicans as a whole will get crushed if he's on. Look, as bad as he would be as being on top of the ticket for because we lose the presidency, he hurts school board races. He hurts governorships, Congress races, congressional races, Senate races. We will lose all these seats like we did in 22.
Your friend, Governor Chris Christie.
Which ones did you lose in 22? You want to actually go ahead and tell me exactly which ones that you feel that you actually lost, as we actually seen the fractures in that freaking blue wall. There's lots of fractures and lots of holes that were punctured through that wall, and we've seen it. We watched it happen. There's an awful lot of seats that were actually turned around to the Republican side, and that's why the Republicans actually took the House. And if they can hold the House going through 2024 and pick up the Senate, y'all are screwed. Y'all are screwed because they're going to do the same exact thing that y'all did when you had both sides as Democrats. Ramshackle through anything that they want, when they want, how they want, and they're going to get whatever it is that they do want. And that's the reason that I'm so against how this current government is working. It needs to go back to the original, where the president or the vice president was the loser on the opposite side. It actually gave you the checks and balances that were needed, as opposed to actually selecting a running mate to actually go along with your actual ideology and your bullshit, because then you get to actually push through whatever it is that you wish to push through. Republicans will do the same exact damn thing, and they're going to actually go ahead and do just that. Who is this joke book? This is Governor Chris Sununu. Yes.
I think he's your friend.
They're
I
all
think
our
it's
friends.
safe to say
Yeah,
they're
we're
all
all
your
friends.
friends. He has also not hesitated in calling out his concerns about Donald Trump's behavior, his actions, criminal indictments. He also waited until an hour in almost to the debate. Did that surprise you? Did you think that was the right strategy?
Look, I think to talk about Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely the right strategy because, so for example, with Chris Christie, he's known as really the aggressive, gonna bash on Trump, and he's.
Chris Christie put something out today. What was it that he actually put out? Something about Trump went ahead and had people like Hillary Clinton and whatnot at his weddings and this, that, and the other. He was friends with these people before. Of course he was. He was friends with a bunch of people beforehand. He was friends with everybody that's on the Democrat side right now. He was for the longest time. It was only after he came down that golden escalator and actually said that he was running as a Republican did everybody else and say, oh, we need to actually get rid of him. And then they actually went after him for everything that he was. So just like most of the other Republicans, potential rhino. But instead of actually being a rhino, he actually pushed it to actually be something better and actually be that MAGA Republican that we wished more people would actually turn out to be like.
Very validated
Jelly-filled Shamu.
But he took the opportunity to remind folks he was a governor, he was a CEO, he had made tough decisions, he had gotten stuff done even with Democrats in his legislature, and that's leadership. Leadership is about saying, no matter what hand you deal me, I can win. Right? It isn't just give me Republicans and then maybe I'll get something done. We get used to that, but we shouldn't accept that. So he took that opportunity. Vivek and Governor DeSantis, they're kind of known as the culture warrior, anti-woke guys, but they need to broaden their message a little bit and talk about fiscal discipline and draining.
Well, it's just started. So as we actually, make ourselves look stupid as we're talking, let's spread more ignorance. Give them time to actually go ahead and spread that out. They'll get there. But yes, drain the swamp. Fuck the rhinos. Get rid of all of them. Get rid of all the dinos, all the rhinos. Everybody that's so solidly on the ignorant stance. Just when the government stops working for the people are supposed to replace the government, and the governments refuse to work for the people. It keeps on putting through new ignorant shit. Senator tore apart anti-CRT legislation and made it ineffective. He's an ass. He's He's one of the biggest hypocritic rhinos that are out there, and that's why he made it on MSNBC. It was because they knew that they could actually get him to say whatever it is that they wanted him to say.
The swamp and limited government and returning power to the states.
You've also talked about how the issue of abortion is a bit of a tricky one for the Republican Party. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you've said versions of that. The candidates did seem to have a little bit of trouble with that this week in the debate. Obviously, Mike Pence has a strong view on abortion. Nikki Haley, they kind of had a back and forth about it. What did you make of that argument? And did you see anything in there that you'd want to see the Republican platform be, or the Republican nominee be saying as the policy of the party?
Well, one of the consistent things I saw, I don't know if it was with all of them, but a lot of them really do understand it's going to come down to the states, right? What California does is going to be different than Mississippi. They debated a little bit whether there should be a minimum threshold. Personally, I don't believe we should be touching it at the federal level. A few of them definitely agree with that.
Although a few of them think there should be a ban, which I know you're not for.
No, not for at all. Again, it's a state's issue, and I'm a governor. I'm a state's guy, right? So understanding that Mississippi and California are going to be different, that's exactly what Roe v. when they overturned Roe v. Wade, they said, look, state, you can now.
States can now have control. States shouldn't even have control either. It should be up to the woman and her husband, along with the private doctor. It shouldn't be up to the state to control it. It shouldn't be up to the federal government to control it. It should be up to absolutely nobody to control anybody whatsoever. You are not there to control people. You are there to work for the people.
Now decide if that's where you want to go.
You've called for narrowing the field. The field needs to be narrowed. Who do you think needs to take a look in the mirror and figure out if they really need to be in the race?
Well, I think the candidates that weren't on the stage last night, to start with, I think they have to have some tough conversations, and I think the most of them will make the right decision, unless there's some real spark they see them getting them into the higher threshold of even the second debate. I think by Thanksgiving, probably two or three others probably have to drop out if they're still in those low single digits, whoever it might be. They probably have to say, okay, we gave it a try. It's not working. Then they get about 5 or 6 candidates going with Trump going into Iowa, maybe 3 or 4 going into New Hampshire. And if it gets down to one-on-one, as I said, he can't get over 50%. Republicans will find a different option because by then they've explored the candidates, they've gotten excited, they've rallied around one. The numbers for that one individual start moving forward. Trump's aren't going any higher. So there's going to be momentum. Political momentum is a very real thing. And so it all could steamroll right at the right time between Iowa and New Hampshire going into Super Tuesday.
They're not going to go any higher until you actually get rid of all the other freaking candidates that are no longer going to be available eventually. Eventually, all those other candidates that are there will actually be, as their percentages drop to zeros, then those numbers are available to actually be pushed around to these other people. And you're going to actually watch Trump continue to actually flourish. You're going to see Trump actually flourish as opposed to what this asshole has a tendency to actually make you think is actually going to happen. Governor Sununu has no clue what he's even talking about, and he's going to actually continue to go along with and pretend to be a Republican. He's going to pretend, as he's been doing for the longest time. That's all he knows how to do. Pretend. So then, again, I didn't have a lot of time to actually do research today and get this, set out correctly. So it's kind of, I'm all over the place. I know. It's okay. Tucker's planning to interview Putin. The left mind blown. If Tucker can actually get an interview with Putin, wow, that's going to be something to actually watch. He's going to get so many views on that. That's going to be amazing. Trump. Let's go. Independent news reporter Tucker Carlson has reported the negotiations to interview with Russian President Vladimir Putin. The news is first revealed in social media on Sunday. However, Russia Today, RT, the pro-Putin state-owned media outlet, it's come out of Poland, also confirmed the reports early Monday morning. Former Fox News anchor Tucker Carlson has been seeking an interview of Russian President Vladimir Putin. RT editor-in-chief Margarita Simonyan said on Sunday, Carlson is strongly requesting an interview with Vladimir Putin. Simonyan said on the talk show aired by Russia One TV channel, it would be great if someone listens and notifies the president about this. Carlson revealed during an interview that he has been in talks with Putin's people about an interview. However, Putin rarely gives one-on-one interviews to foreign media. His last lengthy conversation with Western journalists was an interview with CNBC anchor Haley Gamble. He spoke with Gamble on the sidelines of Russian Energy Week Forum in Moscow in October 2021. The popular Kanokya the Great first broke the news in Carlson's potential interview with Putin on Twitter. Just in, Tucker Carlson's reportedly in discussions with interview Vladimir Putin, as reported by RT. Notably, the NSA spotted Tucker Carlson to prevent a pre-war interview with Putin, potentially stopping the American public from gaining insight in Putin's perspective before the U.S.-Russia proxy war in Ukraine. Shouldn't Western democracies allow citizens to form their own judgments from the available information? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely should be able to actually gather your own information, should be able to have your own opinion. You shouldn't have to have it all narrated by whoever decides to want to tell you what you should think and not have an open mind. The news has triggered a fierce backlash from the left. However, some even accused Carlson of being a traitor or even considering an interview. Others claim Carlson is Putin's puppet. However, most applauded Carlson's brave attempt to get Putin's perspective on the Russian-Ukraine conflict. If the interview were to materialize, it would undoubtedly pull a huge audience. Carlson's interview with President Donald Trump, which was broadcast on Twitter X last Wednesday, has now been viewed by over 260 million times. And if he gets this interview with Putin, it's going to be viewed a hell of a lot more than 260 million times, because everybody's going to want to know exactly what comes up out of this. And when it comes down to it, if he gets this interview, there's going to be heads rolling everywhere, because Putin's not going to lie. Putin's going to tell the goddamn truth. Why? Because he doesn't give a fuck. And I want to hear them, as Gohagan says, facts. I want to hear them facts. Let's go. If that happens, I hope you stream it, Frog. I'll definitely do whatever I can to actually stream it as soon as possible. I will not wait a day or two. I will do it almost immediately the second that it actually lands that this actually happened. I'll totally do that. Whether it's on YouTube or it's on Rumble is to be the question. Love Tucker till 2020 when I gave up on Fox. Yeah, well, Fox is no longer Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson's now himself, and Fox News can go fuck themselves. because that's pretty much what they actually did. Is they did just that. They went and fucked themselves. Thank you, Boomer. Just in case you missed it, I did talk to Dolly Talk today. It was actually a fun conversation. He is now in Discord. He's somebody that we can actually reach out to talk to and actually hold conversations with. It was a fun little talk. We had fun. We'll do a better job next time, as we had just met each other, and that was the first time we actually had the chance to actually talk to each other. We had a good time. We had some good laughs. It was fun. Yes, they can F themselves. Yep. They can F themselves over and over again for what it is. Let's see here. Again, I didn't get a chance to actually go through everything, and I don't know exactly what all I have here. So I'm kind of going through some of these articles, and some of them just got nixed like within a second or whatever, because I'm like, no, not going to do that. Not going to do that. So it seems as though an update from Maui is one side is actually saying that the Hawaiian Electric Company had revealed that they had de-energized all power lines, whereas others are saying that that's where it actually came from. Was the fires actually came from the power lines? It's really there's an awful lot of media out there that contradicts itself from side to side, and it's really hard to actually decipher which is which. Hopefully I can bring you an update within the next few days on that particular situation as I do some more research to actually get that down pat. I don't want to actually just go and spread some ridiculous bullshit. It's not something that I really prefer to do. And I don't want to not show you something at the same time. So here we'll go through this one. GOP activist and lawyer dies after being stabbed in his home. Officials ruled the GOP activist death a homicide after he was reportedly found stabbed in the neck in his New Hampshire home early Saturday morning. Alexander Talcott, 41, was killed in his home Saturday morning after he sustained a stab to the neck. While authorities have identified the individual who allegedly stabbed Talcott, they have not publicly identified the suspect and determined whether the individual acted in self-defense. The parties involved in the incident have been identified, and based on information known to investigators, no danger to the public. The outlet reported citing a release of the New Hampshire Attorney General's office. Talcott is remembered as a staunch advocate for the core values of the Republican Party. William O'Brien, state director of New Hampshire chapter of Republican National Lawyers Association, according to NBC Boston. He was a GOP activist and a lawyer. His unwavering belief in liberty, free market, and limited government resonated deeply with the role in his role as a lawyer within the RNLA. His leadership was unwavering in promoting the shared values, ensuring every member felt empowered and well prepared. Calling Talcott an exceptionally skilled champion of the rule of law and the importance of fair and honest elections. O'Brien added Talcott's legacy would inspire future generations with the RNLA and the great legal community. Officials have not announced whether the unnamed suspect will face charges. Because he's a Republican-led lawyer in itself, is the reason that you actually see things like this of unnamed suspect. They don't have a clue. They're not going to name him yet, because they don't know if it's going to face charges, because they don't know if it was actually in self-defense or not, is ridiculous. If it was the other way around and this was a Democrat-led lawyer and he was actually spitting his ideologies and got stabbed by somebody, that person would be marched out in front of the town square, and everybody would know that this actually happened, and it would have been out in the forefront. But because it's the way it is, and it's actually pushed the other way, it's hidden. It's hidden and not really talked about. And there's a reason why I actually brought it up, is because it does need to be talked about. That this person just so happened to actually get stabbed in the neck in his own home. When it comes down to it, regardless if the other person was they were in somebody else's home. There's no reason that you should do this in somebody else's home. And even if he was trying to defend himself due to an attack by Talcott had the right to actually do such a thing, as it is his own home. You have the right to actually defend your own home at all costs. Some 41-year-old one was stabbed dead in his home. Oh yeah, this one. So as far as it goes, as you can see, I'm trying to do what I can in whatever to actually get you some news. Like you see the title on it, busy day, let's do this. I really didn't have a lot of time. A little conspiratorial, so I'm writing this over here. I'll have to find out. Yes, I do see what you're saying over there, Drya. That's something that I have to do some more research on before I actually go ahead and start spitting any kind of news out on that for sure. Definitely more to this story. Yeah, there has to be more to this. There's a reason why they're actually treating it the way they are, being that it was in his own home, and they're not actually arresting or charging somebody with whatever had actually happened. Hopefully there's more information comes through soon, and we can actually see what actually did happen and what caused that to actually occur. Think this is that one's fun too. This is the one that was actually brought up earlier by Koolfrogg. It's a very interesting event in itself. Climate activists block a road and refuse to move. Have change of heart when Nevada Rangers truck comes speeding into view. On one hand, there was a bevy of climate change activists who had blocked the road in the annual Burning Man festival in Nevada on Sunday. On the other, there's a pickup truck and some very unhappy law enforcement folks who are responding to a mile-long traffic backup. It illustrated by video posted on social media by Freedom News TV. It really was no contest at all. Rangers belonging to the Pyramid Lake Pewit Tribal Police Department drove straight through the blockade, according to the UK's Daily Mail. Why they actually use the Daily Mail on that is kind of ridiculous. We'll actually watch these videos in a moment. As shown by the video, once the blockade was gone, so was the fight of the protesters, who whined and cried. Tribal Rangers ordered them to the ground. Police charged the protesters with trespassing on tribal land, according to the New York Post. Prior to the dramatic end of the blockade, drivers and protesters had argued with some of the drivers trying to get through to push barricade out of the road. A female protester had chained herself to the trailer, blocking the road, yelled out, "Hey, you're hurting me." Well, you chained yourself to it, a man trying to move the barrier said. The woman also irked with the protesters, called the tactic "dumbass move." The protesters were a group of seven circles. From the group Seven Circles, according to the Post. The group claimed the protests had meant to shine a spotlight on capitalism, inability to address climate, ecological breakdown, and the combat popularization of Burning Man among affluent people who do not live in the stated values of Burning Man, resulting in commodification of the event. Seven Circles claimed the festival's actions are detrimental to claimed values, especially the carbon emissions continue to rise despite government and corporate commitments to reduce carbon emissions by more than half by 2030. Ignorance at its best. Sorry, that was freaking. Drive straight to it and turn around and try it. As they surround you. No, he drove over my sign.
Get out! On the ground! Up!
Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Quit being ignorant. Quit resisting. Get on the ground. You're getting arrested. You're blocking territorial land, and you don't have the right to do such a thing. They should do this more often when it comes down to people sitting, barricading a road off. So you can kind of see here the mile long trailer of cars that they're blocking from actually being able to move. Now, here's the ignorant thought. Here's the ignorant thought when you actually go down to get this down to the nitty gritty of this. Because they're blocking the road, every single one of these cars is backed up because they're unable to actually move. Do you think they shut off their cars? Do you think they shut off their cars while they're stalling? Nah. They're still running their cars. Each and every single one of these cars is still burning gas and not moving, dumping even more carbon into the air than what you actually wanted them to actually do for in the first place. You're not stopping them from shutting off their cars. You're stopping them from actually moving along and actually letting them get to their destination. Dumb asses. They have to have air conditioning. Exactly. They're gonna, especially in Nevada, they're gonna scorch their asses off if they don't. The dumb assery of blocking the roads is just that.
Please, this is a public property. Please.
No, you're on public property.
Wait for the cross.
No, we got to get through. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Help us.
people do.
We got shit to do. Sorry. We got to fucking move this fucking mess.
Whoa.
Dude.
Whoa.
We're gonna fight and argue with each other that we want to block this road with this trailer. This is what we want to do. This is what we believe is right, and then we're going to actually cause harm, and stop you from actually doing what it is that you wish to be doing. Push the trailer straight over. So this is the trailer that they were actually pushing on or whatever. And he just goes ahead and he drives straight through this barricade. It's great. Arrest every single last one of them. Remove them from the situation and stop them from being able to do whatever it is that they're actually doing. As they should.
Get out now! Get out! On the ground! All of you on the ground now! Get on the ground!
They don't care about the environment. They just want to control over the people. Yep, exactly. They don't care about the environment whatsoever. If they did, they would stop people and leave them sitting in their running cars.
No one has a gun.
We have no weapons at all. We're environmental.
All these douchebags start fires, potentially.
Trespassing on tribal land.
Stop
resisting! Stop resisting!
Please!
What the fuck is happening? What the fuck? Our friend is getting fucking hurt!
Oh, well, it hurts. Why are you arresting me? I'm just sitting here blocking the road. And they're going to get down on the ground. We're going to arrest every single last one of you for whatever it is that you're doing, because you're doing something and that's territory that's not yours. They're going to actually take you. They're going to do what they need to do. And I'm glad that they did it. I'm glad that they did it because, eventually somebody will actually get the point of the situation that you're actually wasting your time by actually sitting in the middle of the road, stopping people from getting to where they actually want to be. You're not saving the environment. You're destroying it even further if you actually look at this situation correctly. Ignorant. What's going on? Good job, Vicky. Just wanted to. Yeah, absolutely. I believe I was hit up with something about of that fact yesterday in Rumble side after we had left after doing about 4 hours here on YouTube. We went over and did 2 hours over there. Clumsy will. I'd like to actually talk to her. We'll get a hold of her and see if we can actually work something out with her. I left. I was bored. What do you mean you left? You were bored? Did you miss it? Did you miss it? White supremacist message college football t-shirt sparks outrage online. Mm-hmm. Leslie Kohler, sweetheart, thank you so much. $20. Great stream, buddy. Fun. I'm glad that my lack of inability to actually set up a proper show still turned out pretty good for you. I'm glad that everybody's enjoying it. Oh, you left over there. No, I doubt it. I doubt it. Just I have no clue. White supremacist message, on a t-shirt. A new motto adopted by the University of Texas football team has ignited backlash, according to reports on Sunday. Texas Longhorns football head coach Steve Sarkisian has assigned the team a slogan, "Embrace the Hate." For the upcoming football season, the university's bookstore has reportedly started selling the slogan on official t-shirts. Sarkisian says that the new motto is a nod to the intense criticism of the program has received over the decision to leave the Big 12 conference and Southeastern Conference SEC starting in 2024 season. I think that they've kind of assumed that this mentality of embrace the hate, we get it. We're the University of Texas. We get it. This is our last year in the Big 12. We can sit there with punching bag, or we can go and attack the people that we're going to play. And I think that we've assumed that the responsibility to say, hey, we're going to go after everybody else too. I think that's the right mentality to this. However, some have alleged the slogan is racially charged undertones. I'm guessing this is sports related, but to anyone not in on that, it appears to be a white supremacist message. Now, what in the no black people work here? How is this? Come on. Come on, University of Texas. Your flagship University of Texas. Let's do better. Another person wrote on Twitter. Not good, y'all. This is a triple UT alum. I am not proud of this. Another Twitter user wrote. Exactly. Who is UT Austin authorized this literally hate use of the Longhorn brand, asking for all faculty working in still a positive learning community in our classes and campus. Surely there are better ways to show UT pride. The American Association University Professors, University of Texas at Austin chapter wrote on Twitter. A Twitter supremacist, a white supremacist shot 3 black people in a supermarket in Florida. Oh yeah, okay. What's whatever happened in Florida also happens in Texas. Oh, okay. Stalking the HBCU is so yes. I happen to think an officially licensed product that says "embrace the hate" would seem to be a bit tone deaf. I'm funny that way. Yeah, you are kind of funny that way. It's a t-shirt that says "embrace the hate." For a football team. What do you want them to do? Oh, unicorns and lollipops. What the are you kidding me right now? How ignorant can we all be? And it was push some bullshit hate at a slogan that says "embrace the hate." It just is so fucking dumb. Exactly, beautiful. For dear God, for fuck's sake, people. We do not see people complaining about black supremacists shooting people. Nope, ever, never. You'll never hear it. You'll never hear about it because they don't want to actually spread it that way. They don't want to spread everything. They just want to spread rhetoric in division. They just shut down the conference and they potentially. Again, thank you again, Leslie. I really do appreciate that. As we're speaking of ignorance, this kind of falls into play with the ignorance of what's actually happening in this world. Now it's kind of small. It's kind of small, so I'm going to actually give its own screen here for a moment. For what it is, let me see if I can't actually. Let's make this big enough. They're after me, not because I'm on goal, says Roe v. Wade. Because I'm in the way. If we had the Supreme Court worth its salt, they'd overturn gay marriage, says Shen Papiro. Gee, I wonder who they're actually trying to talk about. So you can see here these dominoes: Roe v. Wade, outlaw Plan B, ban. This is going to get really cringe here. Ban contraception, federal ban on abortion, banning gay marriage, anti-sodomy laws, repealing women's right to vote, banning interracial marriage, return of Jim Crow, return of slavery. What? Roe v. Wade is standing in the way of them returning to slavery? Huh? What kind of crack are they on? Who does this? Exactly, Dry. That escalated quickly. That's delusional. I can't take them seriously ever. Nope, you can't. You can't, because they're so fucking ignorant. They're so ignorant to the point. And then their little dude that they got up in the corner. If I had a Supreme Court worth of salt, they'd overturn gay marriage. This is so fucking dumb. It's so dumb. They really seriously do not have a clue what they're even talking about. They're just creating something. They're just creating something on a white girl in fentanyl. Well, not that bullshit, but at loss of personal freedoms that will be expanded. The things I've learned in the conversations with Dolly this afternoon. We had a good conversation. It was fun. This thing here, whatever this is that they decided to actually create to put up on X, just so happens to be so sober ignorant when it comes down to it. And it's put up by, this person, I hypocrite. Yes, I hypocrite. Good job. Just trying to go through this as fast as I can, because like I said, it's going to be a short night. Nearly 5,000 pilots allegedly lied about having medical conditions which would bar them from flying. Oh, wonderful. Glad that everybody can go lie their way into actually continuing to be a pilot and actually make themselves of something that they really shouldn't be making themselves of. Nearly 5,000 pilots are suspected of having lied about their mental health conditions and other health disorders, which would prevent them from flying. The Washington Post broke news on early. Washington Post broke the news that nearly 600 of these pilots being investigated. Federal Aviation Administration flight plans for passenger flights of over 4,800 are veterans receiving disability benefits, the Post reported. The pilots under scrutiny are military veterans who told the Federal Aviation Administration that they're healthy enough to fly, yet failed to report or required by law that they were Also collecting veterans' benefits or disabilities that could bar them from the cockpit. Veterans Affairs investigators discovered the inconsistencies more than 2 years ago by cross-checking federal databases, but the FAA has kept many details of the case a secret from the public. FAA spokesman Matthew Lehner acknowledged the statement that the agency was investigating approximately 4,800 pilots who might have submitted incorrect or false information. What was that? Clumsy Clairvoyance. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for the gifted membership. Looks like that went to Levy. Awesome. Good to see it. Glad that you did that. I really do appreciate it. There's actually a great conversations with Koolfrogg coming up this weekend with Radix Verm. Yes, myself and Radix Verm, Christina will be here on Saturday night. It should be a wonderful time and should be very, very, very informative for what it is because she's super intelligent. The FAA has now closed half of the cases, he said, and has ordered about 60 pilots who later had posed as a clear danger to aviation safety to cease flying on an emergency basis while their records are reviewed. Data collected by the National Transportation Safety Board shows that pilots' medical issues were the cause of 9% of the fatal aviation accidents from 2012 to 2022. Navy veteran Noah Felice, who crashed a Cessna during an aborted takeoff, was convicted in December of making false statements to FAA. The 72-year-old failed to disclose the agency was collecting $2,900 a month for post-traumatic stress disorder and that he had 6 prior criminal convictions. However, some claims that the FAA are targeting veterans in the investigation and that non-veteran pilots are just as guilty as falsifying health records. Joseph LaRusso, a Colorado-based aviation attorney, said it is an open secret that 85% of pilots lied about or failed to disclose medical issues on forms. The Post reported that over 1/3 of commercial pilots learned to fly in the military. If you've never wanted to fly in an airplane ever before, now might be a good time to actually not fly in an airplane. It seems as though there's some mental incapacities that go along with each and every single one of these 5,000 potential pilots that have suspected of lying about their mental health conditions. And when it actually comes down to it, do you want a mentally incompatible person flying your airplane? All of a sudden, the mental snap and boom, oh, oops, let's take out the whole airplane. It sounds kind of scary and very disturbing to actually see how far this has actually gone, as this has been in studies for the last few years of them actually trying to figure out that this is actually something to actually think about. Nosedive. Yeah, right. Exactly. Very disturbing and scary to actually think about. Let me see. I just want to be sure that the rest of this isn't kind of I don't want to go skipping around too much. This one doesn't need to be in there. This is fun. Okay, so no video, so I can actually share the whole thing at once, and I can actually just go from one to the next. Looks like there's about 6 or 7 tabs left. Iconic retailer closes shop in Blue City thanks to rampant crime. Oh, Nordstrom's permanently closed its San Francisco location after 35 years on Sunday because of increased crime. The Nordstrom employee of the San Francisco location partially attributed to the closure to rampant crime in the area. According to ABC 7 News, property crime, which includes shoplifting, rose by 57% between 2019 and 2022. Definitely partially due to the crime in the area. There's other things to go along with that. Koof had a big impact, apparently. That's where the impact was Koof. Nordstrom official attributed San Francisco's departure of decreased sales revenue in changing dynamics in the area. The LA Times reported San Francisco currently has a retail vacancy of about 6%, the highest level since 2006. The foot traffic has decreased. So many shoppers have moved out of the area to work remotely. The dynamics of the downtown San Francisco market have changed dramatically over the past several years, impacting customers' foot traffic to our stores and our ability to operate successfully. Escalating crime in the area has driven away customers from San Francisco Center Mall, while the retail store is located, the San Francisco Standard reported. A growing number of retailers and businesses are leaving the area due to the unsafe conditions and customers, retailers, and employees. Coupled with the fact that these significant issues are preventing economic recovery in the area, destroyed, gone. More than 39 stores, including Whole Foods and Office Depot, have closed since 2020 in San Francisco's Union Square area. Vacant shopping stalls. There's no longer going to be anything available in San Francisco. You're going to have to drive to another city to purchase your goods. Have fun doing that. Yeah, let the personal shopper get held up. All the stores need to close beside the really rich people and personal shoppers who get all their stuff online anyway. Sure. The elites don't have to deal with the crime. Refusal to pursue thefts and reduce penalties of crimes. There's a lot going on in California for sure. There's a lot. There's a lot. And you know, it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse if they didn't actually go ahead and do such a thing of just shutting it down. Because eventually, if you start shutting down everything, they're going to find somewhere else to actually go and actually go after to actually get the goods that they're actually looking to get, so that they can turn around and try selling it online. You know damn well that these people are not keeping these goods for themselves. They're selling it. They're selling it to make a penny. Because instead of just working, they'd rather do that. Controversial teacher with Z-cup prosthetic breast returns to classroom at new school. Yay! So glad that Canadians can actually have this ridiculous person show up on for school. The Canadian teacher sparked controversy. A photo showed the class wearing Z-sized prosthetic breasts. Last year has entered a new teaching gig, prompting the school to enact additional security measures for safety. Parents and high schoolers in Nora Francis Henderson Secondary School in Hamilton, Ontario, have been warned by the school's principal that the protests and disruptions like Kayla Lamo's hiring. In a memo obtained by the Toronto Sun, we are writing to you today because we anticipate the school your child is attending this year, Nora Francis Henderson, may receive some level of public attention, and we want to communicate that this means to you, your children in our school. Should the school be subject to disruptions and protests, we are committed to communicating with the openly and frequently as possible to ensure student safety and to share any operational plans. Understanding the controversial storm, they may follow the hiring. Fisher wrote that new safety measures will be implemented to protect students and faculty at the Lamo. Joins their ranks. These safety precautions include having students enter and exit the building using assigned doors to entry and dismissal, locking exterior doors during school hours, only using the front main doors during school hours. Nora Henderson, it's gross and disturbing that they're actually just went ahead and they're like, oh, well, you know, he needs a job somewhere. They actually go ahead and you know, several different pictures to, you know, oh, there he is. There he is. He doesn't always wear them. Doesn't always wear them. It's just too much. Why? Just why? What the fuck is wrong with people? The bigger the no way these are safe to use in the shop class. Oh, they're totally safe to use in shop class. Nobody's going to be looking away from doing their work. They're going to be looking at what the hell. Exactly why? Just why? What's the point? What's the reason for any of this? Really? I mean, seriously, come on, dude. These are the people that shouldn't not be near children. I agree. Hopefully, those people that live in Ontario, Canada, can actually wake up to the situation and maybe actually do something better than allowing their child to actually be allowed in this particular school. Do what we wish, or we're going to leave. Without the students in the school doesn't have the funding. The school doesn't have the funding to hire ridiculous people like this. Who's going to save the children when them bad boys get caught and the saw and prosthetics start flying at kids' faces? Now all I see is prosthetics flying everywhere, slapping them in the face. Oh, shit. Rock legend loses brand deal for referring to transgenderism as a fad. Rock legend Alice Cooper, 75, lost his deal with a cosmetics company after he stated that he believes that transgenderism is a fad. According to New York Post, Cooper signed a brand partnership deal with Vampire Cosmetics, which sells spooky-themed makeup, less than 2 weeks ago during an interview with the site Stereo Gum. Cooper, who opposes transitioning children, and pointed out that men who masquerade as women can use women's restrooms and put them in danger. I'm understanding that there are cases of transgender, but I'm afraid that it's also a fad, and I'm afraid that a lot of people claiming it to be just because they want to be that. I find it wrong. When you've got a 6-year-old kid who has no idea, he just wants to play, and you're confusing him, telling him, yeah, you're a boy, but you could be a girl if you want to be. Cooper added that LGBTQ plus agenda is gone now to the point of absurdity and blasting the term birthing person, which is now being used instead of mother. It's getting to the point where it's laughable if anybody has tried to make a point on this thing, and they turned it into a huge comedy. And because they turned it into such a big, huge comedy for what it is, they've actually gone ahead and they're trying to actually, go after Alice Cooper and, let's take away his makeup deal that he's had forever. I don't know one person that agrees with this woke thing, and I don't know one person, Cooper added. So I say that let somebody at least become sexually aware of who they are before they start thinking about it, if they're a boy or a girl. A lot of times I look at it as this way. The logical way, if you have these genitals, you're a boy. If you have those genitals, you're a girl. There's a difference between I am a male who is a female and a male that's a male, or a female that's a male. And wanting to be a female, you were born a male. Okay, so that's a fact. You have these things here. Later in the interview, Cooper said that somebody can really take advantage of being transgender. Well, I can see somebody really taking advantage of this, though. A guy can walk through the women's bathroom at any time and just say, I feel like I'm a woman today. And at the same time of his life in there, and he's not in the least bit. He's just taking advantage of the situation. Well, that's going to happen. Somebody's going to get raped, and these guys going to say, well, I felt like it was like a girl that day, and now I feel like a guy today. Where do you draw the line? He exclaimed. Shortly after the interview was published, Vampire Cosmetics cut all ties with Cooper. In light of the recent statement by Alice Cooper, we will no longer be doing makeup collaboration, the company wrote on Instagram. We stand with all members of the LGBTQIA plus community and believe everyone should have access to healthcare. All pre-order sales will be refunded. Really? Really? All right. Chicago teacher found with boy at airport charged with trying to make child porn. What? Officials charged in Chicago private school teacher with attempted production of child porn once he was caught with a teenage boy in Florida in June of 20. What the fuck is wrong with people? Are you kidding me right now? You were found where? In Florida? You were a Chicago private school teacher. Why would you go to Florida? Elliot Page needs to go away. Gross. Mine stuck out like that. I wouldn't leave the house. Emilio Amato, whatever that last name is, was found in Miami International Airport accompanied by a 17-year-old boy from Argentina. After arriving in Buenos Aires, Fox 32 reported Saturday, noting that the minor told officials that this guy was teaching him English. The boy also said he was staying in the suspect for a few weeks in America to continue his education. The boy allegedly told investigators that this guy asked him to sleep. Let's call him Emilio, like his first name is. That Emilio asked him to sleep in the same bed while in Argentina, but the boy refused. Their search of Emilio's phone also showed sexual comments and photos, and had been sent from a different boy to identify himself as being a 16-year-old. Once Emilio was asked for the reason he kept communicating with the alleged 16-year-old, he claimed he was thinking with his butt. You're doing what? I just can't. Stop it. We don't want to do that one yet. Let's do this one. Dildo ring toss pin clit in the vulva. Family-friendly drag show featuring Ottawa's Pride Fest. What the fuck kind of games are they playing? How many times you face palm tonight, Frog? Almost every single article. Just seriously, what the fuck are they doing? Why? How is that family friendly? How is that family friendly? How can any of this be anything close to being family friendly? What the Capital Pride Main Weekend occurred this weekend in Ottawa. The host of pride-themed activities in downtown core. Thousands of people partook in the festivities to commemorate the event of Intersex Inclusive Progress Pride flag and hung outside the office of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau in the Privy Council. Oh, perfect. Yes, perfect. Hang right out his window. That's awesome. Among the street festival's vendors, promotional displays and events is lined several blocks where dildo ring tosses hosted by Durex and pin the clit on the vulva at the Planned Parenthood tent. Children were freely wandering the area. Of course they were. Of course they were. I'm so glad they put the play button right over the top of that. Saturday's big drop for the drag show extravaganza, featuring a host of drag performances. The drag queen was hosted the show, introducing the family friendly, and noted that the drag is supposed to be provocative and it's supposed to be political, and said that the drag is not a crime. We're going to prove it to you today. Just too much. So to get away from all the ridiculousness, exactly how the fuck is that family friendly? That's exactly what I said. How is it family? How is this family friendly in any way, shape, or form? It's not. It's not. I'm actually afraid. Be afraid. Be afraid. So this young lady, she gets asked a wonderful question, or her answer is great. For her to do such a thing, this is Neilman, who has competed in Miss South Dakota, won the national competition Friday and expected to compete in Miss World 2023. She follows last year's Miss America winner of Christy Clark from South Carolina. I love the state that I'm in. Oh, crap. Thank you. Thank you for telling me that there's no sound. Let's get some sound on this. Sadly, I'm going to have to refresh the whole thing so that it goes back to the beginning. And here we go. Oh, Jesus.
We got this whole system, girl. Step up to the mic. I'll read it for you twice. Just like I did.
Oh, you won't cringe. Listen up, Aaron.
When have you felt the most empowered? When have you felt the most empowered?
I have felt this feeling 7 times now as I bring these sacred souls to the earth after I hold that newborn baby in my arms. The feeling of motherhood and bringing them to the earth is the most empowering feeling I have ever felt.
The way people should feel when they get asked that question, it's amazing. When have you felt the most empowered? And for her to actually go to the point of actually saying, I felt it 7 times as I brought new life to this earth, and actually say that as she held a newborn baby, that is when she felt the most empowered. It's a great message, and it's something that, should be something that everybody should actually want to aspire to, as opposed to doing the ridiculousness that we all laugh at throughout the night. To actually, see somebody actually go to this point is awesome. It's a great thing to actually see. And as a father, being able to actually hold my children as they're firstborn, it really means a lot. And it does actually bring a lot of empowerment. And for this young lady to actually bring 7 of them to this earth is very much appreciated, to actually see somebody actually contributing to society in a whole and making it better. It's awesome. It's awesome. And really do I think that's one of the best things to actually hear from anybody, is to actually hear her actually say just that. Very awesome to actually see. Very pretty for what she was too. So kind of fun. Something a little bit lighter to actually, round that out, to make everybody kind of feel a little bit warmer about themselves as we actually go into these last 2 articles here. There's a couple things that are currently happening with weather and or other things that have to do with weather, as the moment to prepare is now. Hurricane and tropical storm warnings issued throughout southeastern United States. Idalia has actually gone ahead and actually thrown warnings across southern Florida. It looks like it's actually going to project itself through this particular region. I thought there was another. Where's the other? Where's the other one? Why did they take the other one away? Very, very interesting to actually see something like this actually happening. It's ideally is a very large storm in itself. I'm going to actually go ahead and I'm going to bring up and see if I can't bring up a better screen to go along with this particular situation, to actually show you its current trajectory. And where it's currently sitting at. Come on, really? I don't want voice. I don't want somebody speaking at me. I just want... yeah, I don't know if... Okay, yeah, here we go. Let's do this. Here you go. So this is Franklin, I believe, that was actually moving itself out of the area. That's Franklin is moving itself out of the area. It's actually, pushing itself way up and out, away from the coast. But here's Idalia, and you can actually kind of see its pattern here, how it actually kind of spun itself around and actually aimed itself straight at Florida. That's a very large area. This is a larger area than what that original map was actually showing, as it's actually moved, and you can actually see it's right off the coast of Cuba as we speak. It's going to actually hit Florida soon. Hopefully it transition and hopefully isn't as powerful as what it currently is as it's moving into that area. Let's hope that everybody that we all know in Florida and Georgia are going to be safe from this particular storm as it moves into their region. We're all in our prayers when it comes down to it, and we all hope that you're actually all going to be okay. So then, as you can see, this is actually changed. Idalia's really seriously moved its way close to, and is projected to actually hit most of Florida. Florida's not going to be in a good place. And there you go. The one thing that I know I've been feeling for the last day or whatever, my sleep pattern's totally off. Just, everything that goes along with this moon moving in has really seriously affected me. August rare super blue moon, the biggest full moon in 2023, rises this week. on Wednesday, August 30th. Yes, it's the 28th as we speak, moving into the 29th, but we're going to actually feel a lot of these effects for a couple of days before and a couple of days after, as it actually does have the tendency to actually project this its movements for a couple of days. On Wednesday, August 30th, with no doubt hearing the mainstream media proclaiming that it would be a night that will have an opportunity to witness a supermoon. It's a term, and more specifically, a branding relatively recent origin. It is originated out of astronomy, but astrology, first coined an astrologer who arbitrarily defined it as a full moon, which occurs with the moon that is near 90% of the closest approach to the Earth is given an orbit. Indeed, at noon Eastern time on the 5th Wednesday of August, the moon will arrive in Perigee. It is the closest point to orbit relating to Earth at 221,942 miles away. 9 hours and 36 minutes later, the moon will officially turn full. Although the full moon theoretically lasts just a moment, that moment is imperceptible of ordinary observation, and for a day or so before and after, most will speak and see the nearly full moon as full. The shaded strip is so narrow and changing in apparent width so slowly that it is hard for the naked eye to tell whether it is present or which side it is. In addition to the supermoon status, this particular full moon will be the second to occur in the month of August, calling it a blue moon. The first having occurred on the first of the month. As a result, the second full moon of August is on the 30th, will be also known as a blue moon. So for what it's worth, what we have will be a super blue moon. However, unless there's some unusual atmospheric condition present, such as airborne dust, ash, or smoke, the moon will not appear blue, but a normal yellow-white self. Nonetheless, thanks for the mainstream media hyperbole, many will likely look forward to getting a view of a big late summer moon. If you are hoping to catch and look at the full moon, or a guide to the best binoculars could help you find some nice wide angle optics in taking the larger areas of the lunar surface. This floods for you, but there are also some drawbacks. The full moon nearly coincided with perigee means that several days around August 30th in the range of tides will be much larger than normal. Low tides will be usually low or unusually low, and high tides will be unusually high, perhaps resulting in minor coastal flooding. As you know, Florida's dealing with what they're dealing with this moon. I really seriously hope that everything's going to be okay with Florida as this actually does, spawn itself through. Great Liquor, I see you over there. It says, show your moon. Supermoon branding is watered down. Of course, they're going to try calling it a blue moon because it's the second moon. It's not technically going to be blue, like it said. The advantage of seeing a full moon is as big as it is, especially when you're up in higher altitudes like myself. It really seriously is something interesting to actually see. And I don't think binoculars are going to actually be necessary unless you actually want to see all the little markings on that moon as it be. It should be fun to actually see. I know that is Clumsy. You still with us? I know that Clumsy said that she was going to actually see if she, because I had said something to her yesterday about knowing about this moon or whatever, that she said that she was going to see if she couldn't actually hold some kind of a special show or whatever to go along with the full moon. For what it is, I'll be excited to actually watch, and we'll be paying attention to what actually Clumsy actually produces to go along with this particular instance. If you don't know who Clumsy is, totally check out Clumsy Clairvoyance. She's a very fun lady to actually listen to. She's very interactive. and she actually does a very good job at what she does. So this particular, moon in itself, as we actually speak of it, there's other events that are going to happen right around this. Is that don't overlook Saturn. A full moon is positioned opposite the sun in the sky. As it turns out, 3 days before the moon reaches the point in the sky, the planet Saturn will arrive in the opposition to the sun. When it is too opposite of the sun in the sky. So on Wednesday night, Saturn will be photobomb the moon, situated about 5.5 degrees to its upper right. So something to pay attention to as we actually move into this full moon. You should actually be able to see Saturn come into play, and maybe actually be able to see something that maybe you've never seen before. It should be pretty cool to actually see what actually comes out of this. I will be watching the sky as I can feel moons moving through. And it really seriously affects my sleeping patterns and everything else to go with it or whatever. And I know that there's other people that have actually said, crime stats actually increase during full moons. Not everybody's a werewolf. Oh, it's not always everybody. Just certain people that actually do get affected by that particular situation. That being said, I didn't see Clumsy actually say that she was still with us. So hopefully you can actually check out Clumsy Clairvoyance within the next day or so. If you haven't checked her out, totally check her out. She's going to actually do something cool when it comes to this particular event in itself. I do appreciate y'all so very, very much. Thank you so much for being here. If you haven't done so, please hit that like button. Share this out to those places you like to share things. If you haven't made yourself into Discord or haven't figured out how to get yourself into Discord, talk to me, talk to Vicky, talk to Beautiful, talk to several different people to actually figure out how to get into Discord. Come join us for regular conversations. We're there every single day for long periods of time. Don't forget to actually, if you haven't had a membership over on the YouTube side, to actually pick up one. There's a couple great conversations coming within the next few. There's, like I said, Radix Verm will be with me on Saturday night. V Radio will be with me on Monday before a regular show. A couple of fun things to actually come. I do appreciate y'all so much. Again, punch that like button while you're there. If you haven't done so already, YouTube's or Rumble side, hit that thumbs up button. Make it a thing that you just do for everybody, because rumbling things out and making things viewable to more and more people is always the way to do it. I appreciate y'all. Love y'all. And later.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.